J'ai eu des choses douces, je veux les trucs nouveaux. Donne-moi un petit échantillon. Si je le sais et je l'aime, je le garderai. Quand même.
Just sort of loosened things up really and took away a lot of the elitism that was associated with clubbing.
There were rich people, there were poor people.
Scholars and, you know, straight students and, you know, married people, girlfriend, boyfriends.
Black, white, gay, straight.
I mean, rich folks to...
You name it, they were all there.
So everybody was doing house music.
I didn't really start hearing the term house. I want to say like 1981.
It was not only a music, it was a culture.
Back in the days when you were house, you really stuck out.
It's a very feeling, emotional type of music.
You gotta feel the music. You feel it. I can't teach you how to do that, you know?
They're not afraid to actually sweat in what people would call like church clothes or something like that, you know?
We found places to party.
You didn't have to join a gang because you went out to dance and have a good time.
You know, it's nothing to not like about it. It's gonna make you move.
The soundtrack of your life.
It was a little bit of house music in everything.
Music Box, the 16th in Indiana.
Remember that song, It's Time to Jet?
The soulfulness of house music, I think that's the key.
The music we dance to is like music from the late 70s, early 80s, all the R&B records that came out then that they used to play in this club called the Ecstasy Garage, the Paradise Garage. And that music is just so there. It's just so, that's where quote unquote house came from, which is where it started, because it's like you could read magazine today and they'll say they have like house and garage music for the new records that's coming out. And that's the feel of the music that we listen to. And it's like only certain DJs know how to play the records because they're the only ones who know who have those certain records that we listen to.
Dancing. What happened, I can break that down for people so we could put it in the history books now. You know, house dance was born when all these hip hop kids came out of like the street jams and then the hip hop clubs, when the hip hop clubs no longer really existed, like Latin Quarters and Union Square, they shut down. We needed a new home to rock out. And then, you know, we ended up going to a house club, and then we saw like all the lofters, the voguers, the hustlers, you know, all these different dance styles within the same house, you know, the same structure. And what it is we came in with our hard, like hip hop attitude, and we realized we can combine all of that stuff and along with the jacking style from Chicago, and we just meshed it all together, and house music, house dancing was born.
In the beginning there was Jack, and Jack had a groove, and from this groove came the grooves of all grooves. And while one day viciously throwing down on his box, Jack boldly declared, "Let there be house."
Basically, I got turned on to house music from a good friend of mine named Buddy. We used to call him Club Buddy because he used to go to the garage, and he knew about every club from the Silver Shadow, Red Parrot, Bentley's. He knew about all those clubs, and he would turn us on to these spots, and we went and checked it out, and that's how I got into the music. The first song he played for me was Mystery of Love and No More Mind Games by Liz Torres. This is when most of the tracks that were made from house were coming out of Chicago.
Marjorie, actually. I had known Marjorie because back then, basically, upon all the videos and stuff like that came a little later, but we were dancing in outside jams, street parks and stuff like that. You know, they have like someone set up a turntable, and they do this all up and down Harlem, so we would go to each one, battling each kid from the block and stuff like that.
Block party.
So we were known for going to different block parties and taking out, you know, cats at their own block parties, shit like that. But, you know, I met Marjorie, we met each other when we were like 15, 16 years old. And she was already hip to the whole downtown scene and the voguing and the you know, the bumper car shoes and the bell bottoms and what they were wearing at that time, you know, the trend, the trendy look and that whole trendy thing. Before they started calling us grasshoppers and shit.
Okay.
Alright, so basically I was like, yo, what's this club, The World? I keep hearing about this club, The World. And she told me about it, but she was like, I can't get you with The World.
But I got into house music a bit like in '86 when I was going to like college parties and stuff. And then I started getting into like house clubs, hardcore around end of '87, '88. That's when I really started going to house clubs and stuff. But I'll say I became a real head by the end of '88 into '89. I was a real house head by then. I was a hardcore house head.
It's because people make you, they put the label on you. So I can't speak for them as far as like, oh, he's a house dancer. To myself, I was just a dancer, but the reason why I gravitated to house, you know, was because there was a freedom within the music, within the lyrics. It was positive, and that's what made me gravitate to it. It was different from everything else that we would hear. So, and it made me want to explore and find out more. And so that's why I'm doing it to this day, because they keep on coming out with music that kind of takes me on that ride.
So house did something for me, and I like to feel that I did something, or I'm doing something and did something for house. So it's just like a friendship. It's like when you meet a friend and y'all just click. You don't even know this motherfucker, you know? It's just like, wow, you know, you feel like you know them forever. That's how I feel about house. That's how I feel about music. That's how we all feel in a way. And house is the base, you know?
There's under the word house, there's so many rhythms involved, you know, under that umbrella. And the fact that there's so many rhythms involved, so that allows me the endless possibilities of exploring my own expression. So that means I could combine all types of dance under the same umbrella, you know, like you hear jazz rhythms as well as like funk rhythms, as well as like samba or salsa or traditional African drums. You know, you'll hear all types of rhythms under the same umbrella, you know. So that allowed me a lot of freedom of expressing myself, so.
What's up?
Ooh.
Dance.
Oh, that's a long list.
Well, for me, my mom was my biggest influence. You know, my mom, she used to throw on Diana Ross's Sweetest Hangover, and we used to dance to the break part. Whenever the break part came in on the record, and I don't know if you know that song, but I'm quite sure you know the song around, she used to take my arms and move me around.
And I will say, it's starting from my parents being like pretty good dancers into my sisters that are really good dancers.
I was a weird kid, so I used to watch a whole lot of musicals and stuff like that, and then break up all the furniture trying to do my own videos and stuff like that, way before VHS.
People like Debbie Allen and, you know, Jody Watley and Jeffrey Daniels and the Lockers and all of these people that I saw growing up, like Tyrone and like Archie and Wooly Ninja and all of those elders.
And I moved to a whole bunch of different places, so I had to get into what these different circles were into. But they all had like a little dance thing, you know, so I just kept picking up things along the way. And
the cat that that was like a major influence for me was Anthony.
Like, of course, you know, Stretch, Henry, Ejo, Khalif, Voodoo Ray, Brian, Shah, Shannon, Khalif's brother Ramir.
You know, this is a cat that I met in Studio 54.
And like all of the cats from Queens, all the cats from Brooklyn, all the cats from Bronx, Jersey, Connecticut.
And, you know, I saw him dance when I went, you know, to the garage for the first time, but I didn't know him. But I met him in 54. And, you know, just the way he spun, the way his footwork was, I tried to pattern my style after him.
I mean, baby Jeff, I love you. You're my biggest inspiration right now.
The dance, my great-grandmother Coco used to put me on her feet and put me on her feet and dance like bad luck. That's what she got. You know, like you know, like dance you know, whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, because that's how I learned. It was just like, how can I not have rhythm? I still feel my feet on my grandmother's feet. So
you know what I'm saying? It was him and his boy Glenn, both of them. They used to get down. And then me and Link met up with them, and then I don't know, that we used to always get down together.
You know, like my homegirls, like Kim Holmes, like Joyce, Asha, Asia, you know, like Goldie.
I can definitely say I was influenced by yourself. When you would come out and all the dancers that I knew on the Brooklyn side.
Inspired me. Cheryl, April, Frankie, Tony, Greg, Kaheem, all these cats, Eric, Alistair, Dane, Damon, Keto, Sekou.
I could say, of course, Voodoo Ray and you know, the Khalif, of course, and some of the people that I was watching at that time.
That's also Kaheem too. Kaheem was another person. Him, it was Kaheem, it was Alistair, you know, from that little clique.
I learned Kaheem was one, Frankie was some of the people that I used to watch in the club, just the aesthetic.
I mean, like that whole collective, my whole generation, I have to say, there were a lot of great dancers from my generation, so I had endless inspiration.